asked you about your siblings and you were like, well, there's also these 18 cousins. So
Yeah,
like,
because I counted
like
once.
that was like a very specific familiar
I
that
got
like
18 cousins.
that
I
was
mean,
a very
it's
it's a very specific to your experience the way that you responded to the question of siblings, right? So I want
yeah.
to know
They're like, how
why
many
these cousins.
siblings? I'm like, I have 18. Well, actually, I think 18 might include my siblings too, and I think a lot of it has to do with my ideas of family and the family work that I do. So basically, just in general, like when I think of family, and like I try not to prescribe like the ideas of nuclear family. So I
Hmm.
teach this class, and I'm like I always tell my students, like, you don't have to think nuclear. Like family can be chosen family, it can be your dog, it can be your friends group, it can be anything. And so I think like there's like this kind of contradiction between like me growing up on Long Island with like this nuclear family and just like this community that I in many ways like well resourced but highly isolating. And
Hmm.
then it's like going from here, now I'm thinking about this a little bit with my work, like going from here to India and like, being around this like wow, like these millions of people. And so as a little kid, like I was actually even have this book that I wrote. That's funny. I was like, is this right here? So when I was like 7, I was just always been obsessed with India. So I wrote this book called India, like when I was when I was 7. And it was like it's like
Did
it's
you spend
like
a lot of time in India growing up, or is it just like a
yeah,
foreign?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In the summer, I went to India. So we used to go for weddings and things like that.
Hmm.
And so it's like,
But
you know,
are the 18 cousins all in the
no,
U.S.
no,
or
no.
no?
So they've migrated. They've migrated. These are them.
Hmm.
So they're not 18
What does
here,
it say on
but
that one? What does it say?
it
I
says,
have a lot of cousins there. I like being in India. Okay.
yeah. And so it's like I like all these people. Like I think I wrote these are some of my cousins. And so like
Because you
I
didn't want to
think
draw 18.
yeah, I think I didn't know how many I had actually. So it was like, but yeah, I think it's just this idea of like being part of a tribe, I think. And I think the more I started to investigate my family, and I've always been obsessed since I was little, I've been obsessed with lineage. So I've
Mhm.
always like wanted to know the relationships of one person to the next, and like took note in my head. Like I would memorize all this stuff. So it's like I teach this family archive class, and it's like and I did a master's thesis, but I think I was just always doing this. So it's like my brother did not really give a shit about any of it. And like when he'll be like, who is this? I'm like, that's your uncle. Like, and so we both grew up in America. So it's like really interesting, like our relationships. Like he loves our cousins, definitely. But he was like, Bruce Springsteen, like had American flag glasses and things like that. And then I just felt very deeply connected to India. And
Mhm.
so it's like same household. So it's like really fascinating. And so, yeah, so I would always be saying like, who are these relationships? And then like my cousins, I think it's like what I loved was that there were so many personalities. And then like on my mom's side of the family, like my dad's side of the family, like we had some tension like with wills and things like that. So I didn't see all my cousins. But my mom's side of the family, there was like but they're really tight, and they're like I like them because they laugh a lot and we can be really lazy together and we can eat a lot. Like it's just like a joyous kind of like laziness is really like we pride ourselves in our laziness. Like everyone's like, we're like still like South Asian, like stereotypical South Asians, like this person's like going to Harvard and this person's doing this, like a bunch of like overachievers. And then but like laziness is like huge. Like we love to be lazy, and we're from Hyderabad, which is like a city that of enjoyment. And so it's like, it was ruled by the Nizam. So there's like rich food and like, so I think that has carried through in our family culture in a lot of
Mhm.
ways. Like laughs, laziness, James Bond, like action movies, and like just, yeah, that's like us.